some really exciting things going on in the Greenway this season coming up, and we in the North End and the North End parcels are going to be in for some treats of art and programming, and we are lucky enough to have the executive director of the Greenway with us tonight, Jessie Breckenberry. So I want to tell you though that people tell me that sitting on the swings right now is just as desirable as like getting a ticket to Hamilton. It's like rare and amazing, and people are so excited when they get to sit on the swings.
Don't charge as much as everything else. Yeah, I didn't bring my wife to the swings. She wants to go hang.
I'm Jessie Breckenberry. I'm the executive director for the Rose Kennedy Greenway Conservancy, the nonprofit that manages programs and improves the parks. And thanks for having me. Robin is on our board, and so I'm here infrequently. She is here all the time, and so I'm happy to take questions, but you know, in an ongoing way, please. I'll leave a few of my business cards up here. Feel free to reach out, but Robin is always a conduit. I'm also going to pass around, if you'd like, we send a weekly newsletter full of all sorts of information, and so feel free to sign up. Send that around. Things that we have coming up, sorry. Step closer to the wall, my back. Anyway, right now out in the parks, hopefully you've noticed, is the Truth Booth from the artist collective Cause Collective. It is, if you've not seen it, it's a giant inflatable speech bubble. It says truth on it. It was here yesterday, today, and will be here tomorrow as well. You can step inside of it, and you're prompted with "the truth is," and then you have 2 minutes to record your truth. It has been all around the world. It's been to Ireland and Afghanistan and Saudi Arabia and various other cities in the US. It was earlier this week at the Verb Hotel in the Fenway. It was actually, Monday was of course opening day, so there was a lot of truth about the Red Sox, as you can imagine. But then they process all that they hear, and it lives as sort of a portrait of the community. And so I'd encourage you to go. Nancy, go speak your truth at the Truth Booth. It's an example of our commitment to temporary exhibits of contemporary public art on the Greenway. You know, it also is an example of the type of programming that we like to do in the North End parks. In that, you know, there are other sections of the park with big plazas that better accommodate big festivals. The North End parks are, with the fountains and the lawns that are so well used for sunbathing, they don't accommodate big events. We have fitness classes, and when people propose events to us, we show them different spaces and try and guide them to one that works well. But with the fountains not yet on, there is a piece of hardscape there that we were able to set up the Truth Booth on. So we have, as I mentioned, 300 free events. We do almost all of them in partnership, hosted. So if you have an idea for an event, we would love to host it. That is how the fitness classes in the park work. That is how the concerts and the festivals in the park work. So delighted to talk to you if you're interested. A few other things that are upcoming in public art. The big installation last year, literally big, was the Janet Eckelman sculpture overhead. It is not coming back. It was never intended to come back, but that is, you know, it's a disappointment because everybody loved it, but it's there's always something new. So the major installation this year is by an artist, Ai Weiwei, biggest name artist to ever exhibit on the Greenway. He is a Chinese artist, right now has 2 pieces at the MFA as well. The Ai Weiwei installation that's coming to the Greenway is called Circle of Animals Zodiac Heads. So it is 12 sculptures, each representing an animal from the Chinese zodiac. They are 10 feet tall, and they will be in a circle around the Rings Fountain. And so go take a picture of yourself with your animal. I'm the rabbit. If you don't know what you are, we'll have signage there that tells you each of the years and what you are. One of the things that we're really excited about with that piece is the Eckelmann sculpture, for example, was in the financial district and in front of the Intercontinental Hotel. And I think the natural audience for the Rings fountain is going to be very different. It's going to be those that are going to the aquarium, or those that are walking through, those that are coming in for a day at the fountain. It'll be mothers and their kids, and not an audience that's necessarily going to see the Ai Weiwei pieces at the Museum of Fine Arts. And so the chance to bring public art really to the public there, to an audience that's not necessarily a museum-going audience, is something we're pretty excited about. We will have several other installations, including one on the lawn that is right in front of the North Bennett Street School, the Tunnel Administration Building where the toll booth is. There will be a local artist. We actually haven't announced the artist or the artwork yet, but that will be coming in May, along with another local artist installing a piece further south on the Greenway. And then May 19th, we will have kind of a public art season kickoff from 5 to 8 p.m. with performances and other things kind of up and down the Greenway for all of the different pieces of art that are going to be on the Greenway. This is, yes?
Is the Celebrity Series going to do their dance thing again this year?
We got such amazing feedback about Let's Dance Boston, and so it is with great regrets that I say they're not doing it again this year. They are, as an organization, they're principally what they do is sell tickets to events rather than do free things out in the public. And so it was a big lift and a very generous thing for them to do. What they're doing this year is a repeat of something that they actually did 2-3 years ago. The pianos, Play Me on Yours, is coming back to the city generally. And several years ago, there were 7 of these pianos on the Greenway. We haven't heard confirmation of how many will be on the Greenway. We hear that it will be less in the city, so we believe it will probably be fewer pianos on the Greenway as well. But we're excited to host those back. That'll be a 3-4 weeks in kind of late summer, early fall. And we are in conversations with them and very encouraging about bringing Let's Dance Boston back for 2017 and some kind of positive indications. They basically said that they will do one big public thing a year. And so if you like Let's Dance Boston, even if you thought it was a little loud, you can let Celebrity Series know and let us know, because we're happy to pass that feedback along.
Yes, I'd like to address that. I live a half mile away from Rose Wharf, which is the area where this event took place. I mentioned this at the council meeting the other day, and Mike Nichols was there and duly noted it. But Saturday night at 8 o'clock, I had turned on WCRB to listen to the Boston Symphony Orchestra concert. I could not hear it because of the noise that was coming down from somewhere. I went down to Atlantic Avenue and started walking up the Greenway to determine where this was coming from. And I ended up at I think the salsa event, a half a mile away from my apartment. My window was not open. The only phone number I had was yours, and I made the complaint. I think with acoustical engineering reaching the heights that it is today, that there must be some way that the amplification can be not only narrowed, but shortened. And I would ask that when something like that is scheduled again, that someone be directed to consider that. That someone else may be wishing to listen to a different type of music a half a mile away.
So we did have the exchange at the time. I know you had the exchange earlier in Munich. We heard a lot of different opinions about it. That was certainly one of them. Overwhelmingly, they were positive, but it's always good to hear feedback. That's why we come to meetings like this, and why we give out cards and so on. So and phone numbers, exactly. Saturday night at 8 p.m. Duly noted. Other things going on the Greenway you may have seen, we just did a tree replacement. Speaking of tree replacements, yesterday, the last fall, we planted our 100,000th bulb on the Greenway. And so hopefully you're enjoying all of the daffodils and crocuses that have been popping up all over. Yes, at Armenian Heritage Park, you may have seen both the Armenian president visited and laid a wreath. They also had the annual reconfiguration of the sculpture. It's in its fifth. Matt has some great photos of all 5 of them. And coming up, there is a genocide walk. I believe that's April 23rd. For details on all of these things, I'd encourage you to give us your email address. We'll add you to the edge of the mailing list. Happy to answer questions on anything Greenway related.
Are there plans for any additional horticultural improvements on parcels 8 and 10?
For those that don't know, last year we did $400,000 worth of improvements, repairs and improvements in the North End parks, including about $200,000 reconstruction of the replanting of the boxwood bed on parcel 8. And for those that, apologies if I'm speaking the insider's language of parcel numbers, 8 and 10 are the 2 North End parks. 8 is the northernmost of the 2. So we did, that was the installation of the swings and replacement of all the bollard lights in both of the parks, and granite repairs and other work. And we had the money to do 1 of the 2 sets of boxwood beds. And at this point, that was about a $205,000 project with the soil remediation and removals and additions. And so at this point, there is not sort of scheduled the southernmost of the 2, the parcel 10 boxwood bed, but there's I think we look every day and see the dramatic difference between the 2 and are committed to trying to make that happen. If you know those who can support it philanthropically, we would appreciate those introductions and so on. It is, right now we're actually fundraising for a similar set of repairs and improvements in the Wharf District parks. For example, there's about $200,000 worth of granite work that we're looking to do there, and the restoration of the fog feature at the Rings Fountain. There's a garden bed project there that's about a $20,000 project near Milk Street, and so that's the kind of fundraising focus for repairs and improvements. But as those of you know who followed the Greenway for a while, this question of how to pay for the repairs that will be needed over time has been an ongoing question, and it is not straightforward to fundraise for the things that break. It is MassDOT's park, and it is their asset, and but that they are challenged in their ability to pay for repairs of the commuter rail and the T, and the Greenway is a good-looking asset relative to some of their other assets, and so I don't believe that the right long-run solution for this is fundraising, and I don't think the long-run solution for it is probably MassDOT. And so there's ongoing conversations about how to make sure that those things, which will grow over time, the park is still relatively young, are taken care of. Any other questions? Yeah.
It's quite small, but the walkway at Commercial Street is always trodden with grass is ruined, the flowers are ruined. Right where the crosswalk is at Commercial Street, out of the Greenway. You're coming from Commercial Street, the Armenian sculptures on your left, there's flower bed on your right.
Yeah.
And the corner of that is always wet. Is there anything to do with putting up a barrier there or something to protect the flowers or the shrubs?
Interesting. Let me, I'm not, I mean, I can certainly picture the intersection you're talking about. This is it's like a desire line where people are sort of cutting the corner and
Yeah,
trampling something.
exactly.
Let me take a look at that when I walk out of here tonight. The Armenian Heritage Park is, we maintain it by contract with, to the Armenian Heritage Foundation. And so what we do is sort of regular care of the fountains and the lawns and so on. This is the type of thing where I would guess that it needs, a low fence, or, it needs a more substantial planting at the corner to prevent people from turning that corner. And so it's the type of thing that we bring to them to say, hey, we have observed that there's something more that's needed. And then, sort of at their discretion to fund it, but they are, they care very deeply. And in fact, I mean, for those of you that haven't heard, the Jim Kalustian, who was instrumental in the fundraising for and leadership for the building of the Armenian Heritage Park, is actually now our board chair. So that relationship is closer than it's ever been. So, let me take a look at it. If the light's okay, I'll snap a picture or two and we can talk about it. Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.